Okay, I think I solved the problem I was having. I think I fine-tuned it. The problem I was having was after about a few hours, the paint would mix, and then you'd get like these grayish, like dark globs on a bright background, and it was kind of intimidating. And this software is supposed to be calming and like looking at a lava lamp, so I added a mutation factor, and I think that fixed it. The rest of this video is just gonna be this. See, so when the globs get big enough, they explode, but there's there's an offspring mutation factor as well as a personal evolution factor. So when you explode, your offspring are like divergences of you, but then when you're just going about your business, your color slowly changes too. So it's both mutation factors. ChatGPT helped me write this. I am a no grammar. That means like a programmer doesn't actually know how to code, but they have good ideas, so they use AI assistants to program for them. It's the way of the future, man, but I mean, I guess I'm one of the first just by coincidence, so yeah. Anyways, let's stare at some globs, man. I love how it looks like marine snow. It's just so chill. It's just so, like, calming. I call it the four-dimensional lava lamp. Because it's the 3D surface of a 4D hypersphere. So it wraps around in all the directions. A lava lamp is like a gelatinous hot air balloon. The physics are pretty simple. You've got your goo at the bottom, and then the goo heats up and becomes less dense than the liquid surrounding it. And so it's literally like a hot air balloon. It heats up and it rises, but it heats up unevenly. So, like, the convection currents happen, and then, like, bubbles of heat rise. And so you get, like, the hot chunk of wax rising in the goo, and then it separates, and then you've got these little globs, and then more of it rises, and then this stuff cools and falls back down. So there's physics involved. And there's physics involved in this, but instead of heating up wax, it's like different parameter forces and stuff. I even had to get some set theory involved. But yeah. I'm gonna package this as an exe and then distribute the source code on GitHub. I was just waiting to fine tune it first so the paint doesn't mix. I've still got to wait like an hour to make sure the paint doesn't mix. So I'm probably gonna leave it on overnight and then check in on it in the morning and see if it's still colorful and pretty. Cause yeah, I want it to be a pretty lava lamp, not a spooky lava lamp. But there are parameters you can tune, so once you get at the source code, you can play with it and figure out how to make it spooky, if that's your vibe. Fine tuning it for me, and then everybody else can figure out how to nogram as well if they want to run it for themselves. So yeah, you don't need to know how to program anymore. You just need to know how to follow directions and install applications. It's not nearly as hard as it used to be. Which is good. That's the way of the future because nobody got time for that. I'd love for somebody to take this basic idea and like replace the circles with end balls, which are like these things you can play with in Blender. Um, the basic concept is you get two of them close together, or three or more, and they send out like a little like tentacle type thing, like a bulge. And the closer you get them together, the more they reach to each other until they merge into like a peanut shape. And then when you get them perfectly concentric with each other, they become like double the radius. So if you had end balls in here that were like emissive and diffuse reflective objects, and then you put like a semi-transparent like bubbly texture, like a not just a bubbly texture because that would look cheap, but like a procedural texture using like waveforms, and you programmed them to have their waveforms constructively and destructively interfere when they mix, um, and then like mutate with like some kind of pilot wave. Um, then you could have like these swirling globs of goop with bubbles in them, and when they come close together, they like send out little like stickies, and then they merge, and then they separate, and there's bubbles and like fuzz, and they glow and they bounce the light off of each other, and it just goes around the room, which has like this diffuse fog, but it's like infinite, just like this. Oh, that would be so wild. But I don't know how to do that because ChatGPT doesn't know how to do that. But hey, this is a good proof of concept. I can play with it for years and just like make the most amazing lava lamp screensavers. That would be so fun. And the idea isn't to perfectly replicate or simulate the physics of the lava lamp, because the physics of a lava lamp are actually kind of boring. The idea is to take the spirit of a lava lamp and amp it up a few levels. So, yeah. Just look how pretty that is, man. We're going in. Oh, man, the pixels are in the way. Oh. So, you may not realize this, but the background is flickering and, well, not like violently flickering, but like shifting gently um, up and down. And that's because it's actually the inverse average of all the globs. So, it's like artistically balanced to be the closest thing to a common complementary color that the globs can have, which, because they're so colorful, it winds up being kind of a muddy, in this case, like a muddy teal color, but it's shifting. So that's a good sign. When the globs, when their paint all mixed, the color got really bright red. It looked like a vampire lava lamp. It was kind of lit, but it was also a little bit like creepypasta looking. So yeah, not the chill vibes I'm going for. So hopefully that won't happen again. I ran it a few times to see if that was a common occurrence, and it was basically Thanos. It was inevitable. It was inevitable that it occurred. Although the background would sometimes be like a bright blue or a bright purple, but it would always be like a bright background and dark, like mixed paint globs. And I like that the paint mixes, but I don't want the paint to mix, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want the lamp to become homogeneous. I just want the globs to be able to communicate with each other. So, I had to add mutation factors so that each glob is kind of like a little Galapagos and always shifting apart from all the other globs that are like their own Galapagos that's always shifting. So no matter how much they mix the paint, it's a fool's errand, because the moment they look away from each other, they're going to look back and be different colors. That's the idea anyways, but we're going to have to let it run overnight to see where it goes. Tuning parameters. See, this big old glob looks like it came out of nowhere. It was actually way back there, and then it just wrapped around, like in Pac-Man. And now, it looks like it disappeared, but it actually exploded. Man, I want to get this on a mobile app. That would be so cool. Just like, I don't know, like somehow like set up a screen, like a mobile screen background, so that when your phone falls asleep, it like goes to this. And maybe you can like have a little app where you can set up one that like runs continuously in the background, so that it's always the same simulation when it happens, or you can toggle the settings so that it's like a new simulation every time your phone falls asleep. So that way you can have your own little glob ecosystem with its own little glob epoch history. A special little glob universe just for you. That would be so cool. This giant glob is filling up the screen, and then it explodes in a big ploof. That's the rhythm. One of the tunable parameters is how many globs you want to be able to exist, maximum. And so globs are unable to breed or split until all the little marine snows that you see find a host to merge with. And then once the number of globs gets underneath that parameter, they can ploof again. So what winds up happening is they ploof a whole lot, and you get lots of marine snow, and then they can't ploof anymore, and then this big glob comes and chugs through, cleaning them all out, and then it goes ploof. So it's got its own rhythm. But the rhythm is random. It's got a rhythm, but it's a random rhythm. Just like a lava lamp. Lava lamps are actually used as random number generators. So yeah, I wonder if this could serve that function. I mean, it relies on pseudo-random numbers, but it has so much chaotic interaction that, to a certain extent, I wonder if it is enough to obscure its artificial origins and become true randomness. Even though it comes from an artificial source, it's just so chaotic that like minor time dilations and like small imperfections and stuff like that will like add up to huge differences. You can start a whole bunch of these simultaneously, and if you're a fraction of a second off, they'll be wildly different in the end. So yeah. But I don't necessarily know if that's true. I'm not touting this as a replacement for lava lamps. Lava lamps are analog random generators, whereas this would clearly be digital. But it is interesting food for thought. Another parameter you can change is room depth, room width, and room height. And I added an atmospheric perspective parameter, but it's tied to room depth. So that's why it looks like a murky like liquid. It's because like the further down they go, the more they kind of obscure themselves into the darkness. Kind of like one of those smoke rooms that they use to make miniature sets look larger than they actually are. In like filmmaking, they get a smoke machine and like a smoke room, and then it makes like the miniature look huge because it adds atmospheric perspective to the tiny little figurines by increasing the obscurity of the air, basically, I believe, if I remember correctly. Or I'm making up nonsense. One of the two. But yeah, you either learned something or you imagined something. Either way, we had fun just now. Just check that out. It's so pretty. I could stare at this for hours. I think I actually have. Look at it go. Soon you'll be able to have one of these of your own to stare at. I just want to tune the parameters so that I like saying tune the parameters. It's fun to say parameter. But, I just want to tune everything up nice so that the paint doesn't mix and it stays the way it starts, but, like, not stays the way it starts. Like you know what I'm saying. Like, it starts as colorful chaos and it ends as colorful chaos, but the exact nature of the colorful chaos is going to be different. Like, very different between users and between moments in time. Alright, I'm gonna end it now because I could just go on for hours looking at all this gunk. It's just pretty. It's pretty. Look at it. It's just circles, but it's so pretty. Alright, see you later, everyone. I'll let you know when this is out. I'll probably post a comment or something, so pay attention to this video.